Hi, thank you for clicking on this video. I'm Sophie Grace. I'm on a weight loss journey to lose 55 kilos. I've lost 36 kilograms so far and I've got another 19 kilograms to go. Today, I want to talk about becoming that girl or man or woman or whatever you are, becoming that person you want to be with your weight loss. Because we've all been there. We've all been there where we've been overweight, we've been obese, and I'm still overweight, but we've been at that highest weight and we know that we need to lose weight, but it's like, how do I become that person? I know what I need to do, but how do I actually become that person who eats well, who eats within their calorie requirement, who doesn't overeat, who doesn't binge, who is active, goes for walks, goes to the gym? How do I actually become that person? Because I think deep down, we all know what we need to do. Like, we all know we need to eat less and we need to move more. How to actually become that person who just does it. Now, for me, it took time. So if you're in a place where you are struggling and you are down and you're at your rock bottom and you're like, I don't know if I'm ever going to do it. I don't know if I'm ever going to become that person who is just doing the right things. Like, they're just eating healthily, eating in a calorie deficit consistently. And that's a big thing, just to be consistent. Honestly, that is probably the most important thing with weight loss. Just to have a bit of consistency with your calorie deficit is going to be the difference. Like, that is going to be the difference between you not reaching your goals and you reaching your goals. Honestly, like, that is it, because it's just a matter of doing that every day. And of course, we know that's the hard part. That is the hard part, is the I'm trying to think of that word, but I'm going to stuff it up. But the monotony of that, I totally butchered that word, but just that boring everyday thing that you just have to keep showing up. And it's very like unsexy and boring, because weight loss is really not that exciting. It is just, you're in this routine. You're doing the things you need to do, you're ticking the boxes, and you're just getting through the day, right? That's pretty much what it is. But that's my number one thing, is just consistency. Because we can all do this for like a day, can't we? We can all go through the day and be in that calorie deficit because it's only just the day or it's only just the week. We can stick to things for like a day or a week or two, but after that, you start getting tempted. You could maybe start getting bored, whatever it is, because we're human. What can you do? Like, you're only human. You're going to, make mistakes, and maybe you do give in to things, like to temptations and stuff. And then you do have that feeling of, oh, far out, like, I've stuffed up my day. Well, I may as well go out tonight, and not really care about what I eat because I've already stuffed up my day. And then that potentially might turn into the next day, and we all know how that goes, right? Like, it's the next day and then it goes to the whole week is kind of messed up. We've all been there. Like, we've all been there. You're not like a failure for that. You are not a failure for that. Everyone goes through that. It is just a matter of getting back on track, and it's so difficult. And especially at the start, if you're around the start of your weight loss journey and maybe you've like lost a couple of kilos, maybe you've lost you've lost a couple of kilos, you're getting into it. Or maybe you haven't lost any weight yet and you're just getting started. That's actually the hard part. That is honestly the hardest part, when you have just started or you've only lost a couple of kilos, just getting that momentum going and not having anything to show for it. I tell you what, when I was like 25 kilos down, I was like, what weight would that have been? Gotta quickly do maths in my head. 25 kilos. So I would have been like 85 kilos or 90. Let's just say when I had lost like 20 kilos. So I was 90 kilos, and I had gone from 110 to 90. I did not see much of a difference in my body. So I was thinking like, oh my God, I've lost 20 kilos, which is so much. In the old money, it's like, I guess it's like 45 pounds, just roughly. So it's a lot, right? Like, that is a decent amount of weight to lose. But looking in the mirror and just looking at myself and just the way I felt, I did not like see the difference, you know, like maybe I felt the difference a little bit, but to look in the mirror, I was like, far out, like I look the same, I don't look any better, like what the hell. But obviously now I do see that difference, like I do see that physical change, but that's why it's so hard at the start, because you don't really have any effort. It's so hard at the start because you're only just getting into it, and then there's nothing to show for your effort. So it is really, really tricky. But this is the thing, becoming that person, getting back to the actual topic. Okay, becoming that person, becoming the woman, the man that you want to be, becoming that girl, let's just say, becoming that girl. It is just a matter of showing up for yourself. It is just a matter of proving it to yourself. Even the smallest little thing. For example, you set your alarm for 6 o'clock, let's just say. We're not snoozing. I know it's tempting, but we can't be snoozing. We've got to be like, okay, I've set the alarm for 6, so I've got to get up at 6. All of a sudden you're up and you've got this extra time, and maybe you do have time to go for a walk now. Maybe you do have time to make something healthy for lunch because you're up, right? And also, it's not just that. It's also just the feeling of you're up. And you don't have to be up. Let's just say that you kind of have to get up at 7 because you got to get up and get ready for work or school or whatever. But let's just say you're going to get up at 6 and that hour is for you. Because this is the thing. This is why I'm just going to quickly shove this in here. I love getting up early because it gives me time for myself and my own life. If I don't get up and do things that I want to do, I feel like I'm just getting up for work, and then it's like that's kind of my whole day. But if I'm getting up like an hour or 2 hours before I have to get up for work, it kind of feels like I've got this life outside of work. So if you do work full time and that's kind of a thing and you're kind of like losing yourself with that whole routine, get up early, make time for yourself. You are 100% worth the effort. You are 100% worth the time. You are totally worth it. If you're struggling with this, don't even worry about it, because like I've been there. Seriously, I was like so lazy, and I'm still lazy sometimes. I still have days where I'm like, oh, you know, and I'm like, you know, snoozing. I still have days like that, but it's something to keep working on. Honestly, like a year ago, I was like, snoozing, did not really have much. I was like struggling to do my walks in the morning. Like I was seriously struggling. But now I'm in a place where I'm like getting up at 5, going to the gym, and I'm just like, my alarm goes off at 5 and I'm just like, okay, boom, stop. I get up, I get myself ready for the gym, I walk to the gym. So this is kind of like me, and I'm like loving the routine, but that's just an example. But if you are doing little things, you know, even if like you say at work, there's always something at work, like someone will have a birthday, or, you know, the boss treats you to a coffee or something, like a nice treat. There's always something like that. And you feel it's really hard to say no. It's really hard to not accept that offer. I mean, it's free food. I mean, seriously, like if we overweight and obese people know anything, it's so hard to say no to food, let alone free food. Am I right? So that's a really hard one. If you can just say no a couple of times, it doesn't have to be every time, but if you can try to start getting into the habit of saying like, oh, no, thank you, I'm good. If you can try that and just get into the habit, and remember, it is just a habit. It doesn't have to be this big, like, oh, should I, shouldn't I? Just get into the habit of being like, oh, no, thank you. You know, instead of like, oh, and think about it, just kind of trying to get into that habit of just it kind of being more of a reflex, like, oh, no, thank you, like that. And it doesn't have to be anything. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to make an excuse. No, just no, thank you. That's all you have to do. And just little things like that, you will start to show yourself like this is what you do. This is just the person you are. I think visualizing really helps as well. I'm just kind of one of those people where not all the time, but sometimes like in the car on the way to work, like if I'm going anywhere that I go all the time, such as work, that's kind of like a good time for me to just kind of like daydream. Obviously I'm paying attention to the road, but that's kind of a good time if I feel like listening to music. it's a good time to daydream and kind of just imagine like the life I want. The other nice time is falling asleep. Like I love to just fantasize about my ideal life and just me as a person, like my kind of ideal self. That's what I love. Like honestly, like for me, I don't know about you guys, but like I don't even fantasize about, you know what anymore, because I'm so just like focused on certain things that my fantasies involve just me thinking about like the future life I want, the person I want to be kind of thing, and like how I want to be as like a mom and as a daughter and just what I want to achieve in life. So I think visualizing is great. And really I think having that spiritual side, if you are a spiritual person, I think like tap into that. Like if you are a monotheist or whatever you are, tap into it, like pray and do that thing. I think it's just good for you as well to have that spiritual side. I think that's important, so I definitely like recommend like tapping into that if that is your thing. What's really helping me now is just taking action, because when you just take action and you just do it, like you don't kind of write it down, and obviously like I was saying, visualizing, which obviously is like thinking about it, but it's really important to just do it and not to sit there and think about it. It's just not helpful. I think thinking about it just leads to overthinking. Again, visualizing, I know I'm kind of contradicting myself there, but I just feel like visualizing is kind of different, because you are just kind of like creating this reality in your own mind, whereas thinking about it is like, yes, I will do it. And if you're someone like me who like talk, if you talk to yourself, then you're probably a bit of an overthinker like me, where, you'll be like, oh, this is what I'll do and this is what I'll do. But it's like, do we actually ever get to that point of actually doing it? I don't know. For me, I feel like it kind of slows me down. I feel like it's way better for me just to take action. That is the most important thing. And then of course, once you take action, as like we were talking about just before, once you take that action, you actually do start to prove to yourself, like, this is who I am. And this is something that was in that Atomic Habits book by James Clear. He has this, I love this line in the book. It's like, you decide who you want to be, and then you prove it to yourself every day with small wins. It's just like, it's so true. It is so true. And all these little things add up, with weight loss, all these little things, saying no to the treat at work, choosing the healthy option, even though we really wanted, all of that, really like that big meal, we just were like, okay, no, we'll get the small meal, like even just that, it makes a huge difference. It doesn't seem like it at the time. And it's so easy to make an excuse at the time and be like, oh, it'll be fine. But once you just get into that habit of like making that, because you know what you should do, and you really just have to put your big girl pants on and make the right decision, because you really do know what the right decision is. You know what you should be doing. You know who you want to be. It's just a matter of making that right decision in the moment. And it can be small. It can be so small. It can be so small that you don't think that it matters, but it does matter. All these little tiny things will add up, and you will become the person you want to be. Because I tell you what, a few years ago, I was 110 kilograms, and I was like, seriously, like I was at a bit of a rock bottom for me. Honestly, I was at the point in my life where I thought to myself, well, do I really want to achieve anything from life? Like, do I really care that I'm, this overweight? Do I really care? I mean, like, I'm a mom. I can let myself go. I'm not really interested in getting into a relationship again. So, like, do I even care? And I obviously was just not thinking about how, my health. I wasn't thinking about anything like that. I wasn't thinking about the well-being of my daughter. I just wasn't thinking about it. I was just at like a low point in my life. And I certainly... Look, just to know, I think honestly, for that girl back at 110 kilograms, if I knew then that I would be in the position I am now, I would just be like, wow, like I'd be so happy. Like I'd be so happy to know that I was able to get control over my eating. And, you know, because that's the thing, you know, like the number on the scale, when you're fantasizing about, oh, when I'm skinny and when I'm, you know, when I lose the weight, blah, 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 you think about that number. And I do too, because I think like, oh, I want to get to 55 kilograms. Like you think about the number. But the other day when I got to because like recently I got to 74 kilograms. I'm so excited about that because that was kind of like my teenage weight. You know, like that's the weight that I was always hovering around as a teenager. So the last time I weighed this weight I am now, 74 kilograms, was when I was like 17. And that was, how long ago was that? Oh my God, I hate math. Almost 16 years ago. Like, oh my God, let's just say 15 years. And it doesn't make me feel so old. 15 years ago. Like, that's amazing. So that's the lowest weight I've been in 15 years. Like, oh my God. But that's awesome for me. Like, that's awesome. But actually getting on the scale and looking at the number, it's like the number is not what's important. You get on the scale, that number is not going to make you happy because there's all these other things happening in your life and it doesn't magically solve all these problems you've got in your life at the moment. But it's just like important, you know, it's just important. It's important to see the number and to know that, okay, yes, I am at this number now. Like, okay, that's really nice to know. Like, that's awesome. It's not the number that really matters, obviously, but it's the mentality. It's the mentality. And I think, like, especially with me, it's almost, this is going to sound so weird, it's almost like it's a new 74. You know, back when I would think about 74 kilos, I'd be like, oh yeah, I was, you know, around 74 kilos. And I think I just sort of spat everywhere. Oops. It kind of feels like this 74 kilograms is different because I got this like woman's body. Like obviously back then I was just a teenager. I was just a kid. And now I've got this woman's body. Like I've had a kid, you know, I've actually had a child. So obviously I'm like so different. But it's, yeah, I think in a way you don't really realize how far you've come. You really don't, realize anyways. But you can do it. It's totally achievable. You can do this. You can be that girl. You will be that girl. It's just going to take a bit of work and it's just going to take a bit of convincing and proving it to yourself because it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. It doesn't matter what your family thinks. It doesn't matter what your friends think. It doesn't matter what Joe Blow down the street thinks. It does not matter what they think. It's all about perspective. It's all about how you see yourself. If you have low self-esteem, if you have low confidence, that's going to change your whole life. That is going to be, that's a whole, like you're going to have a whole different day. If you go through your day and if you see things from a positive perspective, your life will change. If you see yourself as a certain person, it's going to boost your confidence. You're going to prove to yourself that you are this person you want to be right now. Not when you've lost 30 kilos, not when you've lost 50 kilos. No, right now you are going to prove to yourself because you're just going to get up and you're going to do certain things that this girl does because that's you. So you can do this. I'm going to leave it there. I really hope that's helped. Please subscribe if you haven't already. All right, bye.